Fred Film Radio. This is Manuela Santacatterina from the 82 Venice Film Festival, and I'm in company of Tereza Nvotová, the director of Father, presented in a competition in Orizzonti section. Welcome.
Thank you.
First of all, I wanted to ask you something about the theme of judgment, because during the movie, I felt many times the need to hug your protagonist. But during the movie, you show us how many people, his friends, the media, judge him for what happens to their daughter. I would like to ask you why, in your opinion, it's so easy for us to judge someone who goes through something so horrible.
I think the judgment and blame is very natural for people because if they don't blame and judge, which is terrible, they would have to admit that they're also capable of such a tragic mistakes. And I think by nature, we don't want to feel that we can do wrong. We want to feel like we are good people and we do everything right. And so we don't want to even for a little bit accept the possibility that even I can do terrible things. Not, not the way that I want to do it, but by accident, as it happened to this man. So I think this is why people just don't really think about it. They just see the headline and they go and think he's a murderer, that's it. And this is also why I made this movie. I wanted to show people the other perspective, the inner perspective, the subjective. And if you felt like you want to hug him, this is, I was successful with that.
This story is inspired by true events that happens to your co-screenwriter friends, and I wanted to ask you if you had the chance to talk with him or if you had a chance to talk with other parents who experience something similar to the main character, and how did you work to transform such a personal and horrible tragedy into a cinematic narrative?
Well, it was really like I didn't think I could even make this movie. First, I felt like it's too tragic. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how somebody would watch it for an hour and a half. But then when I met Dusan, he told me this story from this different perspective, from the inside. And that was really the turn for me because I saw the story in a different way. And I had to accept that I could be in his position. And which was hard for me, of course. It took some time, but then I found a way how to make it from this subjective perspective by these long shots. Like I had to actually, because for me the story and the form of the film are not divided. They have to work together, and that's why I decided to make the movie in these very, very long takes where the time really goes in a different way. Like it's not the conventional movie where you have like scene and a scene and a scene and you see this kind of mosaic of the life. This is very different, and it kind of immediately connects you with the character. So this is why I chose this form. And considering your question about where did we come from, it was Dusan who was with his best friend this whole time when this happened, and so he had really deep insight into what was happening to him. But also, it is only inspired by this story. There is a lot of stuff that we actually put into that are not coming from this one case, and we were studying the other ones. We were talking with psychologists and psychiatrists and people who were actually studying people who had this forgotten baby syndrome. So we learned a lot, but to be honest, I don't really want to speak directly to these parents because I know it's such a trauma that I don't really want to, open in them.
Of course. And for a movie like that, it's really important for the audience to believe the characters and their feelings. I wanted to ask you, how did you guide your characters into this journey, especially because you decided to film in a really long shot, and I think that it's really complicated to be on set on a technical level, but also on an emotional level.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're totally right. I knew that I needed the best actors, the most truthful actors that can really, that are also deep as people, you know, because it's not only acting and the ability to create this emotion in you, you have to be able to have that. So I think the first and most important part was casting, which I didn't even do any casting process. I knew that these two actors have to be in the movie, and luckily they wanted to do it. And then we were meeting a lot before we even start shooting. We had this sort of like like a safe circle where only three of us were sitting and reading the script and talking and sharing our own stories, and this was the most important process to kind of nail down the little moments in, like, what are they going through emotionally, psychologically. So on the set, we already knew what was happening inside, and the set direction was more technical because we had to kind of rehearse this complicated choreography of how the camera goes and how the actors are going, so we could like film it in these long takes. And I would say it's sometimes even a little better for the actors to have the longer space, sort of like a being in the character and going through situations. I mean, it's hard because somewhere in the back of their brain, they have to do all these technical moments that we kind of rehearsed, but at the same time, they could like put in themselves into the moment and really be the character, not just act it.
Thank you so much, Tereza Nvotová, the director of Father, presented in competition in Orizzonti section. I am Manuela Santacatterina for Fred, the Festival Insider. Thank you.